Good afternoon, folks. Kind of a chill in the air compared to what we've been having for the last couple of weeks. That's not going to stop a guy like me from entering my little sanctuary, though, to work on some sculptures. I've already been in here, so the door is open. I got Mark Knopfler and Emmylou Harris playing, and I'm going to enjoy my time in the studio today. Oh my God! One of the promises that I made to myself kind of a little bit of time ago is that I'm gonna get into my studio, every day. Now, when I say every day, there's going to be a time where if I'm working a job and I get home late, then I have to go play ball, then obviously I'm not going to be able to come in. But anytime that I have the ability to open my door, even if I'm tired or don't feel like it, I will be opening the door and moving forward on some of my projects. And that could just be reading, writing some notes, thinking ahead to working on website or working on these videos, and always trying to move forward with the pieces that I have. And so that's a promise I made to myself. So yeah, I'm working on these two sculptures for my nephews who are graduating high school. And like I said yesterday, I'm not 100% into sculpture mode right now. I have other things going on, trying to get myself busy with some with other kind of work, and sometimes that's a bit stressful. I just got back from Summit Tools and I picked up some sanding discs, all the ones that, and they're really cheap there. I'm so surprised. So maybe they have them cheap because they're trying to lure you in to buy other things, I'm assuming. So today, with these two pieces, I think it's going to be kind of a similar day that yesterday was. I do have some more sanding to do, so I'm going to get my coveralls on, and I'm going to just plug away at these things and try to advance these pieces along and see where it gets me. And I'm just kind of hoping that the next time I walk over to my phone and check out my messages or calls that I have some of the plans that I was trying to line up falling in place. So that would kind of take a little bit of stress off of my mind at this time. Anyhow, it's a beautiful time to be out in the studio here. It's not too warm. It's kind of quiet on a Tuesday here. I'm going to be by myself in my own thoughts and getting my hands a little bit dirty and dusty, just the way I like it. Ooh, yeah, I don't think too much exciting to look at on video today. I got a really heavy 40 grit on here, and I'm gonna try to get into some of these cracks that need a lot of work. Like, they need to be They need to be ground down quite a bit in order for like an overall smooth surface. So I'm gonna do that, get my mask on, and escape to that, let some dust fly. And you know, I got an old hat on here today. This is the team. Now, if you've watched other videos, you may or may not have heard me speaking about my current ball team. I play fast pitch softball. I still pitch, called the Rain Dogs, which was named after an old Tom Waits album, a classic album. And then it was like 7 or whatever years ago, I decided to leave that team as I was asked to keep alive a team that was in our league that was done. They didn't have a leader, they didn't have any pitching, and they didn't have any bodies for that matter. And so I decided to do it. It was a frightening experience, actually, stepping over with no real team. We weren't a very strong outfit, that's for sure. I think we won 1 game in like 18 or something like that. And however, my goal was to not forfeit 1 game due to not having bodies, and that goal was achieved. And then the following year, I changed the uniforms up. I got an old set of uniforms. I called it the Combs, named after Cowlick Combs. I designed the logos, I designed the jerseys, and I had I started to be able to gather in a few players, and I put a lot of work into it. And we were successful. We kind of were like 500. And then the following years, we were at least above 500, and we beat every team in our league. That was another goal of mine. And when it came to playoff time, we just didn't have the depth or the strength. But I was able to start to recruit Japanese players. And with the help of Lemieux, my wife, on the Japanese website here, young people are coming here to do a work visa for a year or to study or something. And you know, Japan has very strong baseball culture, and a lot of these young guys loved the experience of coming on to a ball team with a group of Canadian guys. They got treated like gold. They were always our best players, and you know, they were the shortstops. They were leading off or batting third and stuff like that, and they did really well, and they all had a pretty darn good experience, I must say. They've told us that. And so this was the hat, this was the logo, and if you can see it closely, these were the Combs. It's kind of like a side angle of a face. You can see the nose here, the eye right here, which is a ball, and then the face is a baseball glove, and then the bat within the big cowlick there, the big so that was the logo. And you know, I wasn't trying to design a logo for a major league team. We're talking men's league softball. So I thought it was interesting, and the hats were made, and that's who we were. So enough on that. And you know, it ended up being a really good experience. It was like a 5-year project, and it was a good experience for me. I made lots of mistakes. It helps. I learned a lot about leadership, how to treat people, you know, what's most important when it comes to a team sport dynamic, and how to communicate, and how to be forthright and honest, and to try to motivate a team that maybe didn't have the greatest amount of talent to succeed and to win some games, and that's what we did. So it was a good experience for me, and now I'm back with my original team when I first got to Vancouver in 2007, the Rain Dogs, and it's my role on that team is much different. I do help our manager / coach whenever he needs it. I pitch the innings that are needed. You know, I'm by no means the horse or anything like that, but I do contribute along the way, and I really enjoy the group that we have. We have a pretty darn good ball team, lots of good young players. So lots of fun to be had. I'm gonna get sanding, and okay, I just got a few minutes here before I have to leave to the ball field. The young guy that travels with me will be here in about 30 minutes. The sounds in the back room are Brent, the carpenter, building a fence for the neighbors. I did have a good day of sanding here. It might not look like these things are different, but I hung a tarp over my little canopy here, and just to keep the dust in, and I really put in probably close to an hour with the angle grinder on both of these pieces, still working them down. There's a lot to and there's still I see some areas that are still needed to be done, so that was okay. Like I say, it's always a victory when I get some sanding done. But here's another one of my books. This is a binder. I had a couple of compartments in there. I had one for my ball team back in the day, the Combers. I had like a Japanese section. I had notes from literature and lectures. I had Cowlick Combs, which is my website, my little business here. So I had all these compartments, and here's a letter to Lemieux, actually, a letter to my other friend here. Actually, I didn't finish them or send them, but it was probably a good process just to write it out. I'm a little bit I'm sorry, I'm just being a little bit distracted by the conversation in the back there. But I was just looking through this not long ago, and I said, okay, I thought it'd be kind of fun, you know, as I continue with these videos, I would, I'm going to be going through my notebooks. I'm going to be trying to explain what I'm doing here in my studio, what kind of clients I'm looking for, and what kind of services I'm offering. But at the same time, I'm going to be reading through old notes, sharing some of my ideas or things that I found interesting. And it's been a good experience for me to do it so far. It's been it's actually been very good for me to sit here and just to kind of speak things out and to articulate what my process is and what kind of work I am doing and have been doing in the past, and just to share it. It's like, even if it's with a few people, and I've said it a few times, even if it's with my mom and dad who are actually enjoying these videos. Okay, here I wrote down a bunch of quotes from Oscar Wilde, the great Irish writer. I just think he's so great and funny. He said, "Experience is one thing that you can't get for nothing." So I found that always a good. There's some sounds in the background here. I don't know what's going on there. Maybe I'll just pause this for a second, and when he's finished, I'll get back into with some Oscar Wilde. I do have a few moments here. Okay. Okay. Back with some more Oscar Wilde out of my notes here. He says, if a work of art is rich and vital and complete, those who have... this ain't gonna work. Okay, let's see if I can get through this. The Oscar Wilde, what he said however many years ago. If a work of art is rich and vital and complete, those who have artistic instincts will see its beauty, and those to whom ethics appeal more strongly than aesthetics will see its moral lesson. It will fill the cowardly with terror, and the unclean will see it in their own shame. And that's the power of art. Whatever, think about a movie, think about a book, think about a painting, and those that really do try to look at something and see the worth of it, that quote means something to me. Oscar Wilde also says, a dreamer is one who can only find his way by moonlight, and his punishment is that he sees the dawn before the rest of the world. Oscar Wilde also wrote, man can believe the impossible, but never the improbable. Oscar Wilde, one's real life is so often the life that one does not lead, which is, that's always had an impact on me. And if you've seen other videos, you see this billboard back there, which I'm about to put up. And I'm not going to get up and move the bicycle in that set of coveralls right now, but it says, break and tear away your old artificial being and see what happens next. Oscar Wilde, no better way is there to learn to love nature than to understand art. It dignifies every flower of the field, and the boy who sees the thing of beauty which a bird on the wing becomes when transferred to wood or canvas will probably not throw the customary stone. That's a wonderful thing to say. Oscar Wilde, the mark of all good art is not that the thing done is done exactly or finely, for machinery may do as much, but that it is worked out with the head and the workman's heart. Oscar Wilde also said, so many people are other people. Their thoughts are someone else's opinions. Their lives a mimicry. Their passions a quotation. And finally, a little sincerity is this is my favorite Oscar Wilde quote. I say this all the time. A little sincerity is a dangerous thing, and a great deal of it is absolutely fatal. Telling the truth is revolutionary sometimes. There goes my neighbor. And yeah, so as I share some notes... Oh, another car driving by. He's jamming out to something. I couldn't really get it. Okay, you know what? When I get back from my ball game tonight, I might share a couple of more things in my notes here. It might be evening time, and we'll see. We'll see how early I'm back and where I am at that time. So, if not, I will stop this day right here. but maybe I'll come back and add a couple of more things. So I did, lots of sanding today. The sculptures are starting to get more formed. I'm jumping around trying to juggle a few things, and thanks once again for joining me here.
Here's a wishing well. Here's a penny full.
Oh my God, Emmylou Harris. Isn't that just enough to slay ya right in your tracks? Like, what a songbird she is. She's so wonderful. I just got back after my ball game, and I had to come in and lock up better than I did. I just kind of semi-locked it, and I'm just showing kind of I did a little polishing. This one here is not as well under the light. I'm gonna have to find a way to make this one with the same flare as that shape right there. See, that's a real cool shape. So yeah, I had a good day here today in my studio. I did a lot of sanding. There's a bucket, flower stems. I actually have an idea for a flower project. I did one series of flowers on a project in Japan that I thought was pretty cool. I packed up all of the wood, and I had them all planned out. I had 7 sculptures ready to go, and I had all of the wood, and I brought it all in like suitcases to Japan when we went, mixed in with my clothes, and they never even checked it. And I put together all these pieces of wood at a little makeshift studio in I just ran into a barbecue. Makeshift studio in Kita, Ibaraki, Japan. Great experience in the countryside. I treasure that experience. I learned a lot about myself. I learned a lot about having to go and produce in the moment in a different culture, a different country. It was pretty fun. Those are my scrap gloves if I ever have a catch with the neighbor. But yeah, I had a good night at the ball field. These team sports that I was speaking about at one time are very important to a lot of us in our lives. We go, we compete, we can still kind of play ball pretty good. It's competitive. We played ball our whole lives. And then afterwards, if things go good, there's a little bit of mingling between teams, but most of the teams stick together. They enjoy their own group, which is fine, and that's the way it should be. But, I have a good friend on another team, and tonight, he was the guy that I needed to speak to in my life. And we had a long conversation. We went for a nice walk around the park there, and I needed to have a chat, so it's just good to do that. And he was the guy that was able to help me do it. And then we ran into some people in the park, and then the conversation extended about, certain things that many of us that kind of find themselves in the center, not too far one way or the other, just trying to make their decisions based on reason. A lot of us in the center these days are finding it confusing. And I think it's important for us in this Generation X to stick together and to start to have some sound dialogues, and ask some questions that need to be asked, and to start to look with a little bit more of a critical and skeptical lens at things. I don't think that's too much to ask. I don't think that sounds too crazy, does it? No way. So that's the kind of conversation that I had out in the park with this, and it was great, She was giving her opinion. We were just giving ours, and we were just listening to each other and just having a nice dialogue. That's what I'm studying to do through a lot of the writers and thinkers that I'm listening to. Okay. I thank you guys once again for hanging out. This is what my little studio looks like at nighttime. Emmylou Harris, I'll put her on to lock up, and I'll see you guys maybe tomorrow.